Hello, folks. Seawit here, and we are on the eve of another theme week. This time, 70s week, specifically 1974. So, as always, we are going to go over what 70s week might bring to your league team by talking about what the run environment will be like and how best to take advantage of it. So, as always, we will start by comparing to 2010, which is generally considered the modern kind of standard run environment of PT League. So, as we can see here, runs are down a little bit from 2010. That is mostly due to a large drop in home runs. Hits are about the same. There's actually a lot more singles in 74 than 2020, but a pretty significant drop of home runs, as you might expect from an older era format. Stolen bases are about the same, but with a lot more caught stealing. So another environment where stolen bases or stealing bases might not be the correct way to go. Strikeouts are way down, pretty much down close to a third. So big stuff, guys. And again, this will influence mostly what the league totals look like. So obviously, there's still going to be, a range of strikeouts based on their ratings, but it's probably going to be more compressed on the lower end as opposed to, maxing out at 8 or 9 like league sometimes does. It'll probably be hanging out more closer to 6 or 7 with some of the other guys into the, fives, fours, maybe some low guys even into the threes. So stuff isn't as important. Well, so stuff isn't not important, but it's also, not going to be, you're not going to get as many outs out of the strikeouts. So you need to be able to control the ball in other ways. So as you can see, there are a lot more balls in play than in a normal league run environment. So again, as feels like is a lot of the case of a lot of these older eras, BABIP seems more important, control seems more important, stuff and home run allowed probably seem a little bit less important. However, if you have a batter that's on the higher end of power, as long as you're not, completely punting other categories, you're still going to get some benefits out of that. Because you still want to be, towards, power isn't bad. It's just, you're not going to have as high the numbers as you would in a normal week. Speaking of balls in play, BABIP is actually down. So, generally there's going to just be more in play outs. So that's something to think about where potentially there could maybe be more double plays. Since you're getting more outs when the ball is put into play. That's not something I've really thought about too much, but definitely a consideration here. Maybe not your, your slow plotting kind of guys, and maybe, having some power or, just ways to maybe avoid double plays might be a decent way to go. We can see errors are also up a little bit from 0.62 to 0.92. So while, errors aren't as important in modern times, you definitely want to think about it slightly more here. We could also see 28% complete games. So this is going to likely end up being, my guess is pitch counts close to like 130. 5 to 6 relief pitchers, depending on how many platoons you want to go. But there's definitely room for at least 1, maybe 2 more players from the normal modern run environment. Something else that we could look at, because we have had 60s theme week, and we've kind of seen how that played out. So we could kind of compare what 67 looks like to 74 to get a sense. There's actually going to be fewer home runs in 74 than 67. So, while, runs are up. 67 did feel like a pretty dead ball week, which is unsurprising due to the fact that was, right before they changed the height of the mound in the year of the pitcher. But we're still gonna have even fewer home runs than that year. So if you've looked at data from data from the '60s week, your league totals are gonna be down even lower than that. However, there's still gonna be a lot more balls in play and more walks. So that comes out to being more offense. Actually, fewer strikeouts as well. So definitely feels like it's gonna play out a little bit differently from '60s week, even though offhand, it kind of felt like they were pretty similar. More errors. So again, this is going to be our most important season we've had yet for error in the field. Let's see what other differences. Strikeouts are also even lower. So yeah, a lot of interesting differences between our 70s week coming up and the 60s week we already had. So good luck in building for 70s week, everyone. I will be back in Perfect League, which is very exciting, and I'm looking to get a title. So I wish all of you luck, and again, have a good 70s week.